everybody. This week I'm going to talk a little bit about some bike handling skills and the things you need to do with your bike before you get ready to get on it. We've already talked about clothing, a little bit about safety. We've talked about gearing, shifting, hand position. So now we're going to talk about actually gaining the skills that you need to ride your bike safely anytime, anywhere. This is going to require some editing on my part, so I might be too technologically advanced, but I'll do my best. So the first thing you need to do before you ever get on your bike and you've got your water bottle, you've got your seat bag packed, you've got your clothes on, and you got your helmet, you've got everything you need to do. You're just about ready to ride. You do what we call an ABC check, ABC quick check. And what that stands for is air, brakes, cassette and chain, and quick release, and just basically an overall check of your bike that you should do before you get on it every single time. So let's talk briefly about putting the air in your tires. Let me turn you around. Front and back tires, you will have a valve. Looks like this. Some of them will have a little black cap on there. Looks like this. It's okay if you do not have that little valve, that little cap. You don't necessarily need it. Most people will just tell you they throw theirs away. The other thing you'll see at the end of your valve is this little twisty ring. That's another thing that if you don't have it, don't worry about it. You don't necessarily need it. We'll go over the purpose of that a little bit more when we talk about tire changing. So most of you will have this type of valve. This is called a Presta valve. The ones that are fatter, for you who have hybrids, possibly a mountain bike, although mountain bikes generally have Presta, but the fatter, wider valves are called Schrader valves, and you're not going to see that on too many bikes these days. This is a Presta valve, and the way you check your air is you need to unloosen this little piece right here. Oh, before I forget, in case you're wondering how much air you need to put on your tires, it's usually printed somewhere, and it's really a little bit hard to find on your tire. Mine, I think, is down here. You barely see it. It's not in print like this. It's kind of stamped right into the tire, and you might see where it says, this says 8.5 bar, which is kind of a European way to measure, and then over here it'll say up to, this says 120 psi, which means pound per square inch. If you look on your pump, you'll see that there's two scales. The black one is psi, the red one is bar. All of us here in the good old US of A usually measure by psi. It's become more acceptable these days to ride at a lower psi, so even though mine says 120, I usually fill my tire up to about 90, maybe between 90 and 100. And I would think probably for most of you it would be the same. So here's my little valve. I already unloosened this part. Then this is gonna be tricky for me to do one-handed, but I'll do the best I can. Here's the end of your pump. This, I don't know if I can do this, needs to be put on there really, really hard, and sometimes you'll hear some air escaping, which is fine. See, there you go. This lever goes down, and that will stop that air from escaping. So you can see here, the lever is down. That's what locks the pump onto your valve. Then you just basically pump. You can see mine says 80 right now. Got my little pumpy thing going. Air in your tires, and you've pumped it up. The next thing you're going to do is check your brakes. So you want to come and look down here at the brake pads. I've got a cameraman now, and just kind of look for any type of wear, and you can kind of see when you look really close there's a space between each brake pad because you don't want your brakes rubbing. So I usually pick my bike up and I'll give it a quick spin, make sure there's nothing rubbing. When you're spinning, then use your brakes to see if it stops. Then I'll come to the back, same thing, make sure the brakes are not touching the wheel. give it a spin, hit your brake, stops. You might even want to get out over your bike like this and just grab your brakes and just make sure you've got a really good pinch on those on the brakes. The C is for the cassette and chain, and you just basically want to kind of eyeball your cassette, see if it's dirty, if there's any, you know, chips, whatever. Same thing with the chain. I'm going to show you how to lube your chain in a different video, not this one, but it's just kind of a quick look. So that's A, B, C, and the last thing is the quick release, and that is these levers over here. And even though you guys with disc brakes, you have some form of these quick release catches here, and you just want to make sure those are completely secure. You don't want them up. Maybe they got caught in your car. You want to just make sure that your wheels are on really secure. I have had it happen where my quick release was not secure, and it was a near-death experience that you don't want to have. Okay. And then the last is just kind of look over everything on your bike, you know, make sure that your water bottle is secure, everything else is ready to go, and you're ready to ride. So now the next thing is, how are you going to actually get on your bike? And there's a lot of ways that you can mount. You always want to mount from the left side, so the side opposite of where all your gearing is. The easiest way to do it, and you do this whether you're someone who's clipping in or someone who is not clipping in, but you stand over your bike, clip in with one foot if you can. There you go. And whichever is your starting foot, you want to raise that up so you get a good push before you go. The second foot, if you're a clipper, you might have to pedal a few times before you can actually get the clip to go in, which is fine. You don't want to not pedal. And if you have flat pedals, you just put that other foot on top of the pedal and you pedal, pedal, pedal. So here I go. I'm just going to push off, and I'm going to find the pedal. On your bikes, especially if they're racing, is to throw one leg over the top of the bike. And again, you want to start with your pedal up like this, so you're going to get a really good push off, and you just push off and bring that leg around, and you're gone. To get on your bike, that's called a flying mount. I don't do those anymore, so I'm not going to show them to you. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to get off. Okay, now that we've talked about how to get on your bike, let's talk about getting off. What you're going to want to do is slow down. Don't push your brakes on too quickly. We talked about that, how, especially that front one, how you'll go flying, and you can see the whole back of my bike picks up if I just really smash that brake. You're going to come to a slowing motion. When you get slow enough, you're going to take one foot either out of the clips or off your pedal and lift yourself off your seat and put that foot on the ground. And I'm going to show that to you, so I need to ride a little bit. Seat and then put your foot down. Okay. Getting ready to come to a stop. I'm slowing. I take my foot out. I step over my bike. And I'm off to the races. Okay, these next set of skills you can practice right in front of your house. And everyone practices these, even the starting, stopping things that I showed you before. Almost everyone I know when the season first starts, everyone practices these skills. So the first thing you really need to start practicing and getting good at is riding one-handed. You don't have to do it for a really long time, but you do need to be able to take one hand off your handlebars, whether it's for signaling, whether it's for getting your water bottle out. Those are the two big things that you'll do with only one hand, or you could just, wave to the adoring crowds. So the best way to do that is just practice taking your hand off your handlebars, touch your water bottle. Hand off your handlebars, touch your water bottle. And do that several times until you can finally grab it and pull it out. Now, when you go to drink out of your water bottle while you're riding, which you are going to learn to do if you practice these skills, you want to grab it like this so you can turn the water bottle this way And the reason why you do that is so that your vision is not blocked while you're drinking out of your water bottle. If you're holding it like this, you're blocking your vision. Okay, let me demonstrate. Okay. Skill, drill, I'm going to show you, is how to ride in a straight line. And believe it or not, that's harder to do than it sounds. And what you want to do for this drill is to ride along a line. If you live on a street that has a bike lane or has a white line that you can follow, use that. My street has a little crack on the gutter that I sometimes use, or there's a imaginary line on the street. And the idea is actually to ride as slow as you can and stay on that line. It's easy to go straight if you're going faster, but it's not as easy to do it as if you're going slowly. I'm trying to follow this line. It's kind of the apex of my street here. It's not a hard and fast line, but I can kind of imagine it. And I'm trying to pedal as slowly as I can without falling off my bike, keeping my eyes about 20 feet ahead so I can see where the line is going. And just go. Okay, the next skill I'm going to show you how to do is called the serpentine. And the reason why this is a really good thing to practice is because it gets you learning how to control your bike mostly by using your eyes. So when you're out riding, pretty much wherever you direct your eyes is where your bike is going to go. So if you're riding and you suddenly panic and you look into the gutter, that's where your bike is going to go. If you look through your turn or around the curves, that's the way your bike is going to go as well. So I have cones out here, but you can do this with water bottles. Just set up a little course for yourself. It can be in a line or it can be jagged, however you want to do it, but practice the speed that you have to ride through this type of course. Go around, goes back the other way. You can see when I went in and out of those cones, there wasn't very much turning of my handlebars. It was more looking where I was going to go and guiding my bike through the cones. So the last skill I want to talk about is really important, and that is cornering. How you take a corner, whether it's a U-shape on a course, a turnaround, or whether it's a corner descending like through Deer Creek, or if it's just the corner in your neighborhood. The first thing you have to remember is the inside pedal is always up. If that pedal is down, you run the risk of hitting the pedal along the street and then falling off your bike. So you always want your inside pedal up. Your weight is on your outside pedal of your leg. You have weight on your leg, and you're also kind of counterbalancing with the opposite arm. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, here I come. I'm going to go around this last cone. My pedal is up. I'm leaning on the outside pedal, and I'm looking through the turn. I'll do it right here also. Pedal up, leaning through the turn. My bike is following my eyes. One more time. I'm looking up. I'm leaning through the turn. My bike is following my eyes. So again, there's not much of this. It's more of leaning on your bike. Looking. Coming back around. Looking. Coming back around. My bike goes where my eyes go. My eyes are going right to you. Hey everybody, that's it for this session. I think the biggest takeaway is just make sure whenever you're on your bike, who knew my helmet was crooked? There. Make sure that you are using your eyes to look where you want your bike to be, and that's where you will be. The other thing about turning, I forgot to tell you, is you don't want to brake in the middle of your turn. If you think you're going fast and you want to slow down, try to brake before the turn starts, and then start pedaling once you come out of the apex of the turn. You want to, and you probably saw in the video, I started kind of wide, I cut the turn kind of close, and I ended up wide again. You want to try to flatten the curve, just like with the virus, as much as you can. Okay, everybody, take care, stay safe, talk to you soon, bye.